Do you want to know what to do with your leftover chicken bones? Follow me as I show you how to make this creamy white and very versatile bone broth. Here we have a bunch of chicken scraps, mostly bones and some meat. We're gonna cover them with cold water and we're gonna leave them for 1 hour. Some chefs do it for 24 hours. The reason why you'd wanna do this is because the water is gonna draw out a lot of the blood that's already inside the meat and the bones, which if you skip, is just gonna result in a darker chicken broth. We want this thing looking like milk in the end. I'm gonna rinse them out one more time just to be extra safe. After we finish cleaning them, we're gonna put them on the stove and we're gonna bring them to a boil. We're gonna let them boil for 10 to 15 minutes. The boiling will separate a lot of the fat, proteins, and blood from the chicken that will just make the broth discolored in the end. So that will result in a thick gray foamy layer that we're gonna discard right afterward. Here you can see the chicken is nice and clean. We put it on the stove. And this is the result after 20 minutes of boiling. You see all the gunk? We want to get rid of all this crap. We don't want any impurities left in the stock. To do that, I'm gonna rinse it again under some cold running water until all the gunk is gone. It's nice cleaning the side of your pan also because it does tend to stick there quite a lot and you don't want it discoloring your final product. When all the bones are clean, we bring them back on the stove and we bring them to a rolling boil. Don't forget to periodically add some water because it will keep evaporating. The next few shots will be spaced out within 1 hour from one another. During the time I'm cooking it, you will see the stock getting significantly whiter, starting to look more and more like milk. This is a great place to mention that this recipe was hugely influenced by the Book of Ramen, written by Ramen Lord on Reddit and his brother. I will link it in the description for future references. I recommend stirring as often as possible because that will help break down the meat and the bones inside the broth, which will increase the flavor. You're looking for the bones to be separate from one another and the meat to be falling apart just like this. And after 6 hours of boiling, it looks ready for veggies. The reason we're adding them now is because they just need 1 hour to release their flavor inside the broth, unlike the bones, which need way more. The vegetables I'll be using will be a bunch of spring onions, 2 onions, a bulb of garlic, and a thumb-sized piece of ginger. You want to cut them down roughly. They don't need to be uniform. You don't need to even peel the ginger. But I do like to peel my onions though. This bone broth is very versatile. You can use it as a base for risotto. You can use it to make congee. You can use it as a base for ramen. Or you can even use it to drink it as it is. It's jam-packed with collagen, gelatin, and amino acids, which support your joint, skin, and gut health. It's great for drinking when you're sick. It aids in recovery, helps you feel better faster, helps you hydrate. It's full of electrolytes, has so many benefits. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't make it, especially if you buy whole chickens and you have a bunch of leftover bones laying around. Here I'll go ahead and I'll chop my onions a little bit smaller. I like to cut them in four, but you don't even have to do it. You can chuck them in like that. My spring onions, I'm gonna pull out any wilted leaves, if they have any on them. And then I'm just gonna cut them into maybe 2-inch pieces. They don't have to be symmetrical, they don't have to be perfect, they just gotta fit the pan. One more friendly reminder for you to check the water level constantly and top it up as needed. Never let all your water completely evaporate. Okay, everything is ready now. Time to put our spring onions, garlic and ginger inside the broth. After this point, you just have to boil it for 1 more hour and it's ready. Some stirring will help break down things. This is the result after an hour of boiling with the veggies. Now we're gonna proceed with straining it. I'm gonna use 2 glass bowls and a cheesecloth lined strainer to do the job. If you're too impatient to let it cool down, like myself in this case, you just gotta be very careful not to burn yourself. Okay, this is where the second bowl comes into play. All we have left in the pan now is just some meat, some bones, and some vegetables. We're gonna dump them in the cheesecloth and we're gonna squeeze every single last drop of broth from them. Or in my case, I'm just gonna use the wooden spoon because I don't wanna make a mess. After you're done draining every single last drop of this liquid gold right here, with the leftovers, you can either just discard them or you can compost them if you want. That's great for your garden if you have a composter. You gotta make sure to really squeeze it. You wanna throw out as little of the juice as possible. Just letting it hang won't cut it. Now we're gonna add a big tablespoon of chicken fat to the broth, and we're gonna pour the 2 bowls of broth into one big one. You can get some of that chicken fat by microwaving some chicken skins. You better believe I licked those fingers, and it tastes too good to let any of it go to waste, so we're gonna nicely scrape the bowls down with a rubber spatula. After gathering every single last drop in one place, I'm gonna grab an immersion blender and I'm gonna blend the broth until all the fat is nicely emulsified. Oops, not before adding half a teaspoon of pre-bloom gelatin. Oh, some finger action again. Here we have some xanthan gum. We're gonna add just a bit, just like a third of a teaspoon, and we're gonna sprinkle it in slowly while blending with the blender so it mixes nicely with the broth. Adding xanthan gum or gelatin or extra fat to the broth is totally optional. All the collagen from the bones has broken down into gelatin in the soup, so we're just adding a little bit more, which is in turn just gonna make the soup creamier. The reason you're blending with an immersion blender is to emulsify all the fats with the soup, and with adding a little bit more chicken fat, we're just giving it some more things to emulsify, which in turn makes the broth richer and more flavorful. And the xanthan gum just stops the emulsification from breaking. And it's finally ready. This is the result of our hard work. Looks great and it tastes greater. You can enjoy it as it is, or you can freeze it and keep it for later. I like to portion it in some deli containers and chuck it in the freezer. This bad boy will last frozen for more than 6 months, but after that the quality might start to decline. Having it will save you so much time cooking, and it will impart great chicken flavor on anything you put it in. And using it at a later date is as easy as just chucking it in a pan and heating it slowly over some low heat. You can literally pull it out and whip up a bowl of ramen in less than 15 minutes.